Hi everyone, welcome to the New Age Sales Champion podcast hosted by Srini and Pascal. We help coaches and sales professionals to close more sales by handling objections like a champ using New Age selling techniques. Today we are going to discuss something about some 7 tips to close more sales on the phone. So in this episode, you are going to learn the 7 top tips which can help you make more sales with less effort from your side. By the end of this episode, you will be equipped with the top 7 tips which you can start implementing in your sales calls to enable you to close more predictably. So stay tuned till the end of this episode to understand how you can implement all these 7 tips effectively. These 7 tips are based on the New Age selling methods. They will look simple, but are very powerful when you implement them. What's the first tip we are sharing today?
Yeah, the first tip we're sharing today is to have a written script and practice it daily. So we have found that many people, they just, don't have a written script and they just wing it. They just say something or ask questions that whatever comes to their mind. But when you have a script, you know exactly what you're expecting to achieve and you know exactly what to ask when, right? So when you use this script again and again, you can, almost predict the response of your prospects. And so once you have established a pattern, you can easily make improvements, whether it is in your script. And so why do we say practice daily, right? Because we have found that if you want to master a certain skill, you have to put in the work and you have to practice daily, because after some time, you will really understand how the script really works. And like we said, you will know what to expect from your prospect, the answers they will give you, right? So practicing daily not only makes you better, makes you understand your prospect better, but also it will help you to close more sales and to be more comfortable on the calls. Because I don't know about most people, but for us, we just had the script, right? Srini, we had our script and we were just going through the script. We were asking each question, one question after another. And it just felt awkward. And the person on the other end, our prospect, sometimes they felt like we're just reading from a script. And that was because we're not practicing it daily. It wasn't second nature to us. It didn't come natural. It was just like, oh, yeah, this person is reading from a script. And you could hear that, right? You could hear it in tonality, in the cadence.
Yeah.
So, right. And an important thing to say is that you do not make more than one improvement at a time. Do not change your whole script unless it's not working. If your script is working and you learn something new, do not change your whole script. Start with one single piece of implementation and then practice this one, and then go about the next improvement, and slowly but steadily improve your whole script or your whole way of delivering your script.
Yeah. You're right, Pascal. When you have a script, you know what is the framework behind the call you are making, and helps you remain in control of the conversation. You know exactly where you are leading your prospect, trying to find out, trying to discover his current condition, future condition. You are able to, show him what you want to show. So when you actually practice this script, And when you are able to naturally converse with your prospect, so you can always see where things have gone wrong for you.
Yeah.
Okay, probably what you said something triggered something. So when you later watch these videos, it will help you understand those critical areas which probably changed the path of your call, which was a turning point in your call. It could be a good point, it could be a bad point. If it's a bad point, you know that that is something which you need to change. Okay,
Right.
and as, like Pascal said, make one improvement at a time so you can see the effect in your next call.
Yeah.
And when you see a pattern, so of something doing good, I mean, you can record it and repeat it every time and fix that particular portion of the script. This is how you start, improving your script after each call, and then it becomes easy for you to, lead your prospect to the sale.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
That's how. That's the first tip. So you must have a written script and practice it so well that on the call you feel very natural. Okay, and like you are having a conversation with the customer. So Pascal, so what is the next tip? Tip number 2 we are going to talk today.
Yeah, tip number 2 is to build rapport. And so, Srini, I want to ask you, like, why is it important to build rapport?
When you have the person on the call, see, he has actually booked the call with you to get something out of the call because he is actually struggling with something. So you have to make him comfortable and you have to gain that trust with that person. So unless you build a rapport with him, you cannot gain that trust.
Mm-hmm.
So normally, people feel that if the prospect starts liking them, they will start listening to them and they start talking about the prospects health and their family and their weather condition. The prospect is not interested in all that. He just wants to know how you can help him.
Yeah.
So you should be asking him. Normally, the natural thing which you should be asking him is, you should straight away put the focus on the prospect. Ask him why he came on the call. What was the thing which made him come on the call? That will make you connect very quickly. So that's the kind of rapport you should, start creating with the prospect. So you start creating that bond or the trust from the start of the call, which is very, very important.
To sum it up, don't ask for their weather condition, where they're from, how they're doing. Find out what they want. So that will build more rapport than you could ever think of. And you will have this trust with them. Right.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Pascal, what is the next tip we are going to talk today?
Yeah, tip number 3 is something I think very, very few people actually practice. And it is really listening to what your prospect is saying. And what do we mean by listening to what your prospect is saying? Like, the prospect is saying something and you hear something, but if you listen carefully, there's sometimes an underlying message of what they're saying, right? You got to remember that everything on the call is about them, right? It's about them, what they want. Because after all, they are on the call with you because they want something. It's not that you want to sell them something. They are on the call with you because they have a problem, they want it solved, and they think that you might have the solution for them. If they didn't have a problem, they wouldn't be on the call with you.
Yeah.
So if you truly listen to your prospect and that helps you to really ask, the right question and probing questions, to probe deeper into what they're saying, not just stay on the surface level. Yeah, I want to enjoy my life. I want to have more freedom. That's surface level. I want more freedom. Who doesn't want more freedom, right? But what does freedom mean to them? Every person's definition of freedom is different. So you need to ask those probing questions to really dig deep into what they really mean by this, finding out the real problem, their real desire, what they truly want. And there's a good example of this is when you're talking with a friend and he has a problem, I don't know, something happened at work, right? You can only really help him or her when you truly listen to them and find out everything about what happened and just listen. Don't try and, pop in and say, oh, I've got the solution for you. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants it. They just want you to listen to them. People want to feel understood. But if you pop in, oh, from what you were telling me, I have a solution for you. It's like, oh, wait, I didn't even finish. Like they don't feel this trust. But if you just listen to them and ask probing questions to really find out what they really mean, then they're like, oh my God, you're a real friend, man. You really listened to me and understood what I was saying. Is there anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, Pascal, actually, this is such a very, very important aspect of your call. See, you have to be actually actively listening to your prospect, not just, hearing what he is saying.
Yeah.
So you have to give him a feeling that, yes, you are listening to him, you are taking notes from what he is saying, and you are actually asking leading questions from what he is saying, probing deep.
Yeah.
So then he will be very excited to tell you more about what is actually affecting him. That will actually help you to dig deep into the problem and find out their real problem, the root cause of the problem, which is very, very important for you to find out. This is what most salespeople miss out, and they are not able to dig into the real problem because they don't listen.
True.
See, like if you're sitting with friends, suppose your friend is talking to you, telling to you about his problem, and suddenly there is a notification on your mobile. So you are interested in checking that mobile.
Yeah.
So will your friend be interested in telling you more about his condition? Of course not. Of course not. You see, so you would have to practice the skill of listening, active listening. It's such a, I feel that this is the most important tip out of the 7 tips which we are sharing with you today. So please, friends, please focus on this. Try to listen what your prospect says and, give him a feeling that you are listening. Yeah.
This also ties in with tip number 1. We said that you want to practice your script, because if you just think about, oh, what is the next question I want to ask? You're not focused on what they're saying. You're not really listening. You're thinking about the next thing you're going to ask based on what they said.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
Right.
I agree with you, Pascal.
So
let's now go to the next tip.
Right.
So there's a tip number 4. Don't do coaching on the call. See, we find, and I have myself been a victim of this. So during my initial calls, I used to be very excited when the prospect asked me a question, how to actually solve some problem. Then I go into a coaching mode. I start teaching him how to actually solve that problem. The reason is, if I solve his problem, maybe he will start liking me more and he will buy me product. See, what happens when you do coaching on a call? Point number 1 is, if the prospect gets the solution to his problem on your call, why should he buy from you? His problem is already solved. Okay. It's a problem that he's struggling with. Maybe that's a temporary. Afterwards, he may struggle with more problems. then are you going to get on a coaching call again and again with him? No, your purpose is to solve all his problems. That is, you have to inspire him to go and buy your product, which will help him solve all his problems. If you are not able to inspire them to join the program, you are doing injustice to your prospect.
Yeah.
Okay. See, coaching can always be done in the coaching program. That's what the coaching
True.
program is for. The call is to actually find out what he's struggling and then show him a way which can solve his problems once for all.
I've been a victim of this as well, just trying to help them on the call itself. But we know that those who pay attention. So if you're selling your own program, you're shooting yourself in the foot by coaching them on the sales call, right? So let's jump to the next tip.
Tip number 5. So what are we going to share, Pascal, in tip number 5?
Yeah, tip number 5 is don't pitch before you discover the real problem. And that's a big one, because we found that, you know, the more old school techniques of selling are teaching you to always be closing, and, you know, pitching is a big part of the old school selling method. I don't remember exactly, but it is like almost at least 50% of the whole call is you pitching your product. And most of the time it happens that they don't even know the real problem. And we kind of touched on this earlier, that if you don't dig deep, it's kind of like, you know, an onion. You have an onion, you ask them surface level question, you get surface level answer. You're on the outer, outer level of the onion, right? But you want to get to the core problem, because that is what people are driven by, right? People are moving away from pain towards pleasure, and they're more motivated by avoiding their pain than going to pleasure. So if you don't find the real problem, if you only go with the surface level problem and you pitch, then they're not going to buy. Because
Pascal, see, the thing is, you know, when people are so used to, you know, day in, day out salespeople pitching to them.
Yeah.
Okay. They know when you pitch them, and people don't like to be pitched.
Yeah.
People definitely love to buy, but they don't want to be sold. They want to make the decision on themselves.
Yeah.
So when you start pitching, you know, from the beginning, they sense it from a mile away.
Yeah.
And then what happens? They stop opening up to you. They start throwing out objections at you. So then what happens? You are not able to dig deep into their actual problem. If you actually, don't dig deep, and if you try to, solve the surface problem, that doesn't appeal to the customer. So that urgency is not there, because that's not his real problem. That is not going to solve. That is not going to help him move away from the pain what they are facing right now.
Right.
So discovering the real problem, will project you as an authority. Then the customer, the prospect thinks, yeah, this guy knows what he's talking. He's able to understand my problem. So if he's able to understand my problem, he will definitely able to solve my problem also.
Yeah.
That increases your chance of having a sale. It becomes very high. The chance becomes very high.
Yeah.
So friends, do not pitch before you actually discover the real problem and what that problem is causing to your prospect. Very, very important point. Pascal, can we move on to the next tip?
Yep. Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Tip number 6.
Yeah. So what are we going to share in tip number 6? So
in our early sales calls, when we started our sales calls, what we did was, so we went through the script. At the end of our script, there's always a presentation of the solution, right? So what we did, we were describing our solution. It will do this for you, benefit, 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 right? And there were times where people said that, oh, you know what you told me, this might not be for me. And maybe you have gone through the same thing. So tip number 6 is prescribe, don't describe, meaning having a customized solution to what they told you, right? So we elaborated on this already. The prospect has come to you with a problem that he's facing. And people are always looking to move away from pain that this problem is causing towards pleasure. So he doesn't give a damn about all the features, the benefits of your product, right? And we want to be a doctor. So what do I mean by being a doctor? And if you're in doing sales for a longer time, you might have heard about this. And it's just the best way to explain it. So when you go to a doctor, he doesn't just, tell you, oh, this medication, it will do this and this and this and feature, and it's made with this chemical and it will give you this benefit, right? It doesn't do this. What is your doctor doing? He's asking you questions. Where does it hurt? What did you do the previous day? So he finds out about your problem, and only then he will prescribe you medication that is customized to what you are struggling with, right?
Exactly.
So that is what we want to do on our sales call. At the end of our call, we found out what is our prospect's problem. And what we do then is we prescribe, like the doctor, we tailor our solution to the problem that they are facing. So we tell them, so you're facing this problem. We have this process that will go over that exactly and show you exactly blah, 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 what they told you that they want. And then what this does is they will feel like, oh my God, this solution is made for me. They feel like it's made for them. And then it will make it so much easier for you to sell.
When you tailor make your solution to actually what their problem they're having. Suppose they have told you they have problem number 1, problem number 2, problem number 3. Say 3 problems they have, and you pick only those features out of your product or service which solves those specific problems they have, and you tie in the solution to that problem that they have. What does it do to the customer? Yeah, like you said, Pascal, it gives a feeling to the prospect that you have the exact solution to the problem they are facing. And what that makes them feel, I need to go for this, okay, to solve the pain they are in and move towards pleasure.
Right.
So always tailor the solution to the problem your prospect is facing.
Yeah.
That will increase your chances 10 times more to make a sale, right?
Right. So yeah, let's move on to tip number 7.
Tip number 7 is listen to your previous calls and analyze. Okay, what do I mean when I say listen to your previous calls? Whenever you go on a call, please record your call.
Yeah.
And after the call is over, please play that call back. Listen to the audio. How the call went through, what you said, and how was your tonality, and what did the prospect respond. So as you keep listening, you will notice that what you did not observe during the call, you will start observing when you hear to the recording of your call.
Yeah.
So yeah, there are 2 things which will it will come out glaringly from the recording when you hear it. One is when you see the prospect's reaction changing. If it is so, when you note those reactions, just make a note of it. What is it you said that triggered something which the prospect didn't like?
Yeah.
And what are the things which you said which the prospect liked very much? So when you start analyzing your calls, all your calls, and then when you see a pattern, you may see a pattern. Every time you say something that triggers something and the prospects start objecting. Okay, so those things you need to change. Now, when you see a pattern, yes, definitely you need to change. Don't go and hurry and change any script just after one call. Look to see for patterns in maybe 5 calls, 10 calls. And then when you see a pattern which is very glaring, go and change that one particular thing and then see how it actually the prospect responds in your next call.
Yeah,
you will definitely see some change. Maybe it's a better a response from your prospect. If it is a better response, then freeze on that script and then keep repeating it till you get. This way, you will start improving your closing ratio, step by step. And when you start doing these things consistently, hearing your calls, seeing patterns, and then making corrections, and whatever patterns you see are producing good results, do not change those things. Change only those patterns which you see are creating a problem for you.
Yeah.
Okay, and this way, it will help you improve your script day by day. Right. And you will ultimately end up with a perfect script which works for you. Okay, with the kind of tonality you have it, and with the kind of leads you are getting, it will work perfectly. It may not work in any other situation for any other product which you sell, but for this product and this kind of leads what you get, definitely it is going to work and give you better and better close rates. Right. So friends, start, and you should, when you make changes to the script, start practicing that script, make it a second nature to you.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else you want to add on the tip number 7, Pascal?
Yeah, you elaborated on this beautifully, that like when you're doing the call, you're not aware of all the things that happen around you, the tonality of your prospect, like because you're so focused on the call itself, you don't pick up on this. And I'm into gaming. I love playing games, and I found that the same thing is happening there. When you're in the game itself, you're focusing on the game you're playing, right? But when you watch, when you take the bird's eye view and you look at what you did in the game, aka what you did on the call itself, how you were asking certain questions, how the prospect is responding, you will pick up some stuff that will really make your script better, your closing ability, and like you said, you will make the perfect script after practicing for a while. I think we have covered all the 7 tips, Pascal. Anything left? So we just quick summarization of the 7 tips. Number 1 is have a written script and practice daily. Number 2 is build rapport with your prospects. Number 3, listen to what your prospect is really saying. Number 4, don't coach on the call. Number 5, don't pitch before you discover their real problem. Number 6, prescribe, don't describe. Have the customized solution. And last but not least, listen to your previous calls and analyze them. So with that being said, thank you so much for tuning in on this episode. We hope that you got some value from this episode. And if you want to improve your sales ability, your sales skill, your closing ratio, then you need to follow those tips. Start by implementing one after another, and you will see your sales skill slowly improving. So if you like this video, if you liked this episode, if you got some value from it, please leave us a thumbs up. Leave a comment down below about your biggest takeaway from this episode, or if you want us to cover a specific topic in the future, comment below and we got your back. Don't forget to subscribe and click the notification bell to see whenever we upload a new episode. That being said, thank you so much for tuning in. Any last words, Srini?
Yeah, please subscribe to our Sales Champion group. Link is down below this video, and we share lots of tips on a daily basis on our group.
Right. All right. Take care, everybody. Bye.
Bye.